Okay, so here's another example with exponents and simplifying these. So you'll notice we have a few things going on here. We have our negative exponents. Okay, so that tells us right away that we're going to have to flip. Now, the idea with these is as you get more and more comfortable, you want to look for tricks to make it as easy as possible. So one of the things that we can do is we know that this negative exponent, because we're dealing with a power to a power property, this negative exponent is going to end up working with these two guys. Okay? This negative exponent is going to end up being attached to both the 5 and the t and this s to the negative 7th. So here's what we can do. I know that this negative is going to cause this fraction to flip. I know this negative exponent is going to cause this whole fraction to flip. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to flip this whole piece and change this to a positive. So we're going to go ahead and do that as our first step. It's not the first step you have to do. We could work from the inside out and manipulate what's inside the parentheses and then work with the exponent on the outside. I like getting rid of this negative value right there. So let's go ahead and do that. I know that the negative exponent on the outside is going to cause this thing to flip. And notice what's causing the flip is this negative 3. So it becomes positive. This negative right here doesn't change until I start working on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one. The 2 becomes positive, and the fraction flips. Okay? Now the next step is I am going to go ahead and distribute the exponent to all the terms inside. And it's distributed as a power. So the powers for each term are going to be multiplied by that 2 and that 3. Okay? So that means we have a 4 to the first times 3 and a t to the first times 3 all over an s to the negative third times 3. Okay? And I'm showing work here so you guys can see exactly what the steps are. And then we have this s at the top, negative 7 times 2, and a 5 to the first times positive 2, and a t to the first times the positive 2. And that's what's happening with all the exponents. And we should know that negative 7 times 2 is 14. And so you can just go ahead and do the multiplication in your head. So we have 4 cubed t to the third all over s to the negative 9th, and that's the one term. And then the next term, we have s to the negative 14th all over 5 squared t squared. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and look at common factors. So I have a t cubed here, and I have a t squared here. So if I have 3 t's on the top and 2 on the bottom, that means the 2 on the bottom are going to cancel out, and I'm left with just 1 t at the top. The 5 squared and the 4 cubed aren't common because 4 and 5 are different. I have an s to the negative 14th and negative 9th. And so what's happening with these guys, we'll clean this up a little bit and then we'll work with this, because these guys are being subtracted or reducing. So 4 cubed is 64 t s to the negative 9th times, right, we'll keep the parentheses here, s to the negative 14th all over 25. And what I like to do here, rather than flipping and working with the negative, I look at the negative 9, I look at the negative 14. I know these guys are going to be combined because the negative 14 on top, we're going to do a little bit of work over here. I'm going to set it up as negative 14 minus a negative 9. That turns into addition, and negative 14 plus 9 is a negative 5. Because this number, let me erase that because that doesn't look good. Because this number is negative, the 14 is larger, so the negative is going to end up on the top. We know to put the s at the bottom. Okay? So I'm going to have 64. Let me change the color here. We have 64t, right? The s goes to the bottom. Numbers are written first, and it was a 5. And that is our simplified term.